Well, hello there. I hope you're all doing well, staying healthy. In these unprecedented times, I know we've been hearing that word quite a bit, unprecedented. If you don't remember my name, it's Fireman Tony with Countryside Fire District here in Vernon Hills. And I want to provide you guys with I'm referring to it as a 5-part series. Systematic approach, recovery position, CPR, AED, and choking. We're going to do some short videos to help you understand those topics. So starting with systematic approach today, what is that? Okay, in terms of coming upon somebody who's laying there as a victim, okay, we don't know what's going on with them, but they're laying there. It's not normal situation, whether it's at home in the backyard, whether it's at school, down around the corner of a hallway, in a parking lot, roadway, at the mall. We have somebody laying there that's not normal. People maybe calling for help and so forth. So where do we start? And that's what I want to give you in this systematic approach. You know where to start when you get to school. Go to your locker, hang your backpack, grab what you're going to need for first period or whatever you're going to need to go chat with some folks prior to school. You know where to start, and then at the end of the day, you're wrapping up with extracurricular activities, catching a ride home, starting to take care of little brothers and sisters. You know where to start, where to end. Where do we start if we got somebody laying there that needs help? Okay, we're going to refer to them as a victim. We're going to start with scene safety. Okay, I have it written up here: scene safety and PPE. PPE stands for personal protection equipment. And these are the 6 things that I'm going to want you to take away from today in terms of systematic approach. Know where to start and where we're going to finish. You're going to ask yourself, is the scene safe? Typically the scene's going to be safe, but there may be an intervention that we need to do in order to make the scene safe, so we're not part of the problem. We want to be part of the solution. With that being said, we ask, hey, is the scene safe? Most of the times it will be. But it just puts that in a frame of mind where we can hopefully take a deep breath, calm down, step back, and take in the big picture. Most of the times, PPE will not be available. We use it on the ambulance. What is PPE? Okay, personal protection equipment. Your eyes are the most susceptible place for disease transmission, so we want to use safety glasses. I know a lot of folks these days are walking around with their dust mask on, okay, or surgical mask, but you might as well have your safety glasses on as well as wearing your dust mask. Another form of PPE would be your gloves. Now, our skin is a very good personal protection equipment as long as you have good hand washing practice. And I'm not just talking about rinsing your fingers and then drying them off. I'm talking about getting some soap on your hands and scrubbing them thoroughly between the fingers, up the wrist. Okay, sudsing them up, a good rinse and a good dry, okay? But PPE, we got personal protection equipment as our safety glasses, gloves. And then in this case, if we were to have to give breaths, and we'll get to that in just a little bit, various masks, okay? In this case, this mask would go on like this, or in this case here, and I would be able to give breaths to this victim if he needed that. This one here is a little bit more portable and disposable. One-time use, you would insert it into their mouth, okay, and then I wouldn't be making contact with their mouth. Now, the PPE does 2 things. It protects this person from my germs, and it also protects me from their germs. I want you to understand that most people that we do find laying there that are most likely unconscious in this case, that means they're not responding to any shouts and so forth, we'll get to that, they're breathing. Most of the people that we find unresponsive are breathing, okay? So most likely we're not going to have to give breaths or anything like that. We can still wear the PPE if you have it available. Unfortunately, most incidents like this take place at home. With that being said, most of us wouldn't have any issue touching loved ones and so forth without having some type of PPE on, okay? So I just want to put that to rest. One way you can take your gloves off, by the way, once they're contaminated, if they have blood or bodily fluid on them, is you can grab here and you're going to peel that off, and then you're going to come in behind the glove on top of your wrist and peel that over the dirty one. Now I'm grabbing the inside of the second glove, okay? I haven't made contact with any contaminant, and I can get this properly disposed of. So, is the scene safe in PPE, personal protection equipment? Something we need to consider before we're going to try and be part of the solution and not become the problem. One example I use for lifeguards is they show up to work. I love lifeguarding, twirling your whistle, showing up barefoot in my swimsuit, and there's somebody laying on the pool deck. And I shout out, they're not responding. I go running up to them, and now I didn't realize it. The cord that the guy was using to vacuum the pool got frayed. I step in an electrically charged puddle of water. Now I become part of the problem. Scene safety, very important. Is the scene safe? Let's say yes, the scene is safe. There's no interventions needed in this case. If I was lifeguard and I saw that guy laying down, I could unplug the operating vacuum cleaner that he was using that was plugged in. But most times, scene will be safe. We can approach the victim. And then we're going to check level of consciousness. I'm not sure if you can see that there. And how we do that is tap, shake, and shout. Are you okay? Are you okay? I don't want to be too rough with them, but I do want to arouse him. I want him to come to. So I'm tapping, shaking, and shouting, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm surveying the body for any signs of life. Is there bodily movement? Is there huffing and puffing? Is there shallow respirations? Is there snoring respirations? Is there any indication that this person is alive? However, most likely unresponsive. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I see he is breathing. I can hear it. And there might be some moaning or groaning or something to that effect. But if he's breathing, he has a heartbeat. With that being said, next, I want to make sure I call 911. We want to get the wheels of EMS rolling. And now I have a little history. I have a little story to tell 911. I have a middle-aged guy. He's unresponsive. I'm at the parking lot of Julasco. Wherever I'm at, I give him that location, a description, what's going on. I checked him out. He's unresponsive but breathing. Call 911, and that's what I've just done. Those steps, 1, 2, and 3, are standard across the board, whether it's an adult, okay, a child, or an infant. And age ranges typically are 0 to 1 for an infant, 1 to puberty for children, and puberty and older for adults. Everybody in high school is considered an adult. Let's just make sure that's understood. We've got steps 1, 2, and 3 completed. Okay, I have somebody who's breathing but unresponsive. I'm going to put them in the recovery position, okay? They're breathing. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to get down next to them. I'm going to take the arm that's closest to me and raise it above their head, bring their knee up, grab at the shoulders and at the hips, and I'm going to log roll them towards me, okay? The head's going to come up onto the bicep of that person's left arm in this case, and the knee comes over. I can straighten that out, and basically I want them in the recovery position so that they don't choke on any bodily fluids, okay? If they were to drool, I've experienced that as a paramedic, a lot of drooling after various seizures and so forth. They're unresponsive. That's going to drain away. If they were to vomit, I don't do well with vomit. But, and most times, unless it's a concussion or something to that effect, this body position, the recovery position, would allow them to drain that bodily fluid away. If they're laying on their back in the supine position, for all you swimmers out there, remember, face down and the water's prone, okay? Face up, supine. If they're in the supine position, if they get excess drool, okay, saliva in their mouth, they could choke on that. or if they puke as well, they could choke on that. So that's why we put them in the recovery position if they're unresponsive but breathing. Flip the coin, they're unresponsive and not breathing. Well then, we would start compressions, 30 of them, open up the airway with a head tilt chin lift, and then 2 breaths. And we're gonna get into all that when we get to CPR, okay? So with that being said, we'll take a little break and come back to the next topic.